The deck I'll be showing you today comes from a very famous publisher, Lo Scarabeo, and was released on Kickstarter, which pretty much happens once in a century. It's a tribute to a famous artist known for its fantasy artwork, Frank Frazetta. And it's a beautiful deck and also a very frustrating deck. You'll find out why in this video. Hey, welcome back. And if you're new here, I'm Jay and this is Lunar Tarot, where I bring you weekly deck reviews to inspire readings with the help of Dr. Koenig, who claims to be a professor of tarot, but I think he's probably doctor of snacks and having little naps in the middle of our videos. Frank Frazetta Tarot. It was created with collaboration between his daughter and Lo Scarabeo and was released only on Kickstarter, and I'm wondering if it's going to go mass production. It's an interesting deck, but it's got some issues. Let's have a look at this together. The Frank Frazetta Tarot comes in this beautiful package, and to be honest, I've never seen Lo Scarabeo publishing in the box like this one. It's probably because it came out on Kickstarter and maybe it was funded differently. I'm not quite sure. Beautiful box. I like how it's cut here in the middle, and on the back you've got Frank Frazetta signature. Of course, there's a Lo Scarabeo logo here, and it's embossed. And the deck opens, the box opens this way here, which is quite impressive. And the box is quite large. Normally, the decks I review, they fit in perfectly in this frame, but this one wouldn't do it. Let's have a look what's inside. So we've got Frank Frazetta portrait here with his birth and passing date, and we've got here the book and the actual deck. The book, well, this is a Kickstarter project, right? And I would say for a Kickstarter project, the book is quite nice. It's got full color and descriptions of the cards with the image and mentioning of some of the quotes here. And this is all Frank Frazetta's work, but you'll see it later on the cards. So this is where the troubles with this deck start. So it sits here in this velvety frame, and when you pull it out, it's no problem there, but getting it in and getting it out of this little cut that you see here is a difficult issue, because this is a foam made little insert, and believe me, trying to shove the cards into this little square box is quite challenging, and which makes me believe that this deck has a one single purpose. Now the cards, they got silver gilding here, and on the back this Frank Frazetta's signature, and the actual cards have his artwork. This is where a problem begins or continues from the box. The cards are so slippery that I wasn't able to keep them in my hands when I was doing shuffling. The deck would literally explode and cards will be everywhere. There's a full flip through at the end of this video, and I suggest you have a look at that, because Frank's work is amazing. If you like fantasy genre, this is definitely something to have a look at. But somehow the Seven of Cups card went missing, and the search party is on its way. Dr. Koenig goes lead that one if he wakes up in time. But I have no idea if the deck included the 7 cup. I have no doubt that it was there. It's just that it happened a couple of times, and I was trying to collect all the cards. Initially, I lost a couple of swords and I brought them back in, and now the 7 of cup of missing. So if I find one, I'll include it later, but I doubt it. It's been half an hour before recording this, and I still can't find it. The cards have a name at the bottom, and it uses pretty much Rider-Waite-Smith structure. Apologies, I've got one card upside down, probably some of them, just because the way they are handled. There are no frames on them, and the artwork, basically a collection of Frank's paintings, and they are quite beautiful. I wasn't familiar with his work before I started working with this deck, and I do like it. Right, let me just show you some of the key cards here so you get an idea what the deck actually looks like. So you've got the Fool here, so the lady dances around with a very strange grin on her face, and I'm not quite sure how to interpret this. So that's also a hint for you that you can't really deal with this deck intuitively, because it really uses Frank's work here as a baseline, I suppose. This is the Lovers card, and I'm not sure what it represents here. It's a beautiful painting, and I guess it's a choice, but it looks like he's got no choice, this guy here. So these ladies are taking him somewhere. I do like the Sun card here, and when I started looking at this deck when I just arrived, it reminded me of the Conan the Barbarian movie when I was growing up. This is very popular, and this deck is basically just got all these images from the movie, just without Arnold Schwarzenegger being on the cover. So this is a death card here. Again, it looks like a spellcaster in the middle. Very different take on the death. This death seemed to be going in a battle or something like that. So this is a Tower card and legendary take on it. There's no collapse here you would normally see on the Tower, and the card is called the Lighting, but nevertheless it's beautiful. And now these are some additional cards here, the Fantasy 22, and this 23rd card here, the Fury. Seven of Pentacles, very different take on that. There's no collecting harvest here, but maybe there is. This fantasy hero here, the hunter, seem to be on the lookout for dragons or pterodactyls, dinosaurs, and I guess that needs a patience too. And Ten of Swords is normally a good indicator how brutal the deck is. Here it's completely different. It looks like this fellow here hasn't given up. It's probably more relevant to the spider whose cycle is finished, but our hero is doing well. If anything, it's actually a victory card. Let me show you the chord cards of the sword suit, just to give you an idea what it looks like. And normally I'll show the cup suit, but believe me, you will see it when you look at the flip-through. This is much better, I think, as a better representative of the spirit and the vibe of this deck. So what we see here is a barbarian-looking character with a lot of skulls in the back, and Knight of Swords taking charge. Very similar to RWS, where the Knight represents action, taking swift action. The Queen of Swords here standing in the water with a dagger, and the King of Swords looks victorious and looks like an alien egg behind him. Quite an interesting thing, and I think this is probably showing you already that this deck doesn't necessarily follow the fool's journey with the cohesive characters, because it's based on Frank's work. And I think what they've done here is a collection of paintings that Frank has done over his professional career. And this is really like a little gallery or photo album of different paintings that he's done over years, fitted into RWS structure. So now this is going to be one of the downsides of this deck. The shuffling here is impossible. This deck is literally trying to explode in your hands when you're trying to shuffle it, like you're seeing right now. And if you're not fast enough, it'll try to run away from your hands, which happened a few times. I wouldn't want to refill shuffle it, because you're probably realizing this is not the deck that you'll be using every day. It's beautiful, but impossible to manage. And I thought that I loved glossy cards until I met this one. The cards are bendy, but then they're so slippery, and I don't know if it's your cup of tea, but I've never felt so frustrated working with the deck before. This is probably the first time it happened. I don't know, let me know in the comments, have you ever had anything like this? This is just impossible, and I hope when they go mass production, if they go mass production, they fix that. Though maybe I'm the old one who doesn't like it. I don't know. Let's do a one card pull and you'll see how this actually reads. So just randomly pick a card. This is trying to escape from my hands already, if you're not seeing this. Right, so I've got the Five of Pentacles. I'm trying to put the deck back in. And what do we have here? So this is a card of, well, I see they look like gorillas, and they out in the middle of a cliff or a mountain. And I guess they do like look like gorillas. And I guess what I'm thinking immediately that this is probably where gorillas shouldn't be. And perhaps this is reminiscent of the Five of Pentacles card that you see in RWS. But looking at this, it's almost impossible for me to tell you what's happening here. Let's have a look in the book. And this is the book, by the way. So, a bit of a story of tarot. And this is pretty much what you will see in any book. And it's talking about the idea behind this project. And there's a Kickstarter page where it's really a tribute deck more than anything. There's a conversation of some details on Frank's life and a couple of spreads, and they're not uncommon, like the Celtic cross, for instance, here, and descriptions of a card. So for the cards, you get the image describing what this person is and the meaning of it, and you've got upright and reversed meanings, and you have a quote. I looked it up as different authors, different fantasy by the looks of it, authors like Prince of Thorns. So it's a tribute not just to Frank's art, but also a tribute to some of the fantasy genre, some fantasy genre authors. And Five of Pentacles. So dawn breaks over the icy peaks, and two white gorillas, I was right, wearily climb the mountain past the gargantuan presence, dwarfing the survivors clinging to the rocky wall. Their lives are now hanging on the brink, and yet they endure. Somewhere beyond these crumbling bulwarks lies a safety they all seek. Meaning, closely tied to its predecessor, the Five of Pentacles announces that times of great uncertainty lie ahead. Your luck has turned, and now you are struggling to find solid ground beneath your feet. Remember that loneliness can kill. Now it's a time to call upon your loved ones to hold on as you weather the storm. Slightly different from RWS meaning here, as you can see. And also, I like how there's a talk about the continuation of the previous scene here and the jungle. So it looks like the ape-like creatures, they sort of continue moving from here to here. I quite like that. I didn't realize there is a bit of a continuation here, but that's quite nice to see. You probably already figured it out. It's a collector piece. It's got a beautiful artwork, nice packaging. I haven't seen Lo Scarabeo publishing something similar to this. It was released with a small number of copies, and I'm thinking that Lo Scarabeo is probably tasting the ground, see how much interest comes from this deck. And because of that, it's really is something that you will get out of the box every now and then, have a look, maybe it will bring some memories back. And reading wise, I would say that this is probably not the deck you'll be using every day or at all, just because how difficult it is to manage it. I also find the paintings, while they are beautiful, there's no cohesive story, and they feel like disjoined pieces of different stories more than just one cohesive story, a Fool's Journey, or especially a Fool's Journey or the Minor Arcana card. So with all of this, given beautiful artwork and silver gilding, nice box, I'm gonna give this deck 3 stars just because it's difficult to manage for shuffling. It's probably not useful for reading, and it's really a collector piece. So if it ticks all of these boxes for you and you love Frank Frazetta's artwork, it's definitely a deck to have. Other than that, perhaps it's a niche product. I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe and enjoy your flip through. And Dr. Kotnik and I are going to look for that 7 of Cups now, don't we?